Hello and welcome to Hexed Encountered. My name is Joe. First of all, I just wanted to address the name change. I mean, I'm sure some of the earlier subscribers to the channel probably wonder where Hexed Encountered came from. It used to be the Legend Sport channel, right? But it turns out there is a Legend Sport channel already on YouTube. It has 3 whole videos on it. So the name was already taken. And I decided that since I have a blog called hexedencountered.com where I write reviews and do some playthroughs, AARs for the war game guys and things like that, it would just make sense to tie the YouTube channel to the blog, the website. So that's why that change was made. So I just wanted to let everybody know that up front, because I know I've heard from a few people that there was some confusion about, hey, I signed up for Legend Sport channel and I'm getting subscription notifications from Hexed Encountered. What's going on? So that's the deal. Rest assured, nothing's changed content-wise. I'm still going to be doing the same stuff. Still going to be doing war games, board games, sports games, both board and computer. So nothing's changed there. Same old stuff. And I look forward to doing a whole lot more than 3 videos, I can assure you. So you're about to see the Open, which now, even though this is a sports game I'm doing today, it's still going to say Hexed Encountered on it. I just wanted to let all you guys know this is a baseball game, but it's still going to say Hexed Encountered in the Open, and the Open is coming up right now. So now that we've got all the name confusion out of the way, let's talk about today's episode, which is covering the game Deadball by W.M. Akers. It is available as either print and play, or you can purchase the printed book on drivethrurpg.com. It's fairly low cost. It is a baseball game, obviously. And this is the 2nd edition, which is kind of a complete, not rework, but just kind of a complete update. What he did was, when he released the first one and it was successful, he then went and did some add-ons year after year, and he did, I think, there were 4 in the original run. So you had Deadball, then Deadball year 2, 3, 4, etc. This would be Deadball year 5, except it's actually been branded as the 2nd edition. So he kind of lumped everything together. All the stuff that was in the previous 4 has been updated a little bit, and it's all been put into one book. So you get a good bargain. I jumped on this as a Kickstarter. I've been looking at this game for a long time. I never actually got it until this edition, and I can tell you, I played the game that you're about to see last night, and it was outstanding. I really enjoyed it. Hopefully you will too. Definitely check this game out. It's pretty straightforward. I do some explaining of how it works during the game, the gameplay that you're about to see. But also, you can basically rate any team from history for free. So you buy the game once, and it's cheap. It's reasonably priced. It's $10, I think, for the PDFs. Okay, which is really all you need. I mean, I got the book because of Kickstarter. I got it at a really good discount, and the book has not arrived yet. It takes multiple weeks, 3 to 6 weeks or something, for it to arrive. But I don't have the book, but I do have the PDFs, and I use the PDFs. I printed out the charts and stuff. Rated my own teams. You can rate real teams using baseball reference stuff, so easily accessible, out there, public domain statistics. And you can also create fictional players, which is obviously something that I enjoy doing. And so I did that using the system. Whipped up a couple teams real quick, and I'm going to play with those 2 teams in the game you're about to see. And I had a ball. It comes with 2 flavors, essentially. There's the modern era, which is based on, obviously, baseball kind of, in the either the current day or the recent past, with lots of relievers and rosters fairly evenly balanced between hitters and pitchers. And then there's what he calls the ancient era, which is the Deadball era. So what the game is actually named after. So it's old school 3-4 man rotations, short rosters, small ball, not a lot of power. Bunt them, get on, bunt them over, steal bases, all that good stuff. Pitchers that were Iron Men, pitched the whole game. come back 2 days later and pitch another complete game, and so on and so forth. So that's actually the flavor that I'm playing. It's the Deadball one because I find that interesting. And yeah, so the game is really, really nice. It's straightforward. There aren't a lot of ratings, but you know, baseball, it seems like there are a lot of baseball games, and that's probably because baseball, in my mind at least, is one of the most board game friendly sports there is. Because, you know, the pitcher batter confrontation, you can do it pitch by pitch, but you can also do it just by resolving at bats, which is how most games do it and how most games should do it. So things can flow really quickly, and it's really straightforward and easy to understand if you can understand baseball. Because baseball itself can be a little weird to people who aren't familiar with the sport, but it's not all that complicated. And I think that because it's each pitcher batter confrontation is a discrete event, it's very simulation friendly. Let's put it that way. So there are hundreds of baseball games out there. This is another one, but it's the approach is fairly unique. It's very narrative focused. He's got his own fictional circuit called the Southern Circuit, which is co-ed, so you have women and men, which is kind of interesting. But all the teams have backstories, and there's a game mode called 9 game pennant, where it's, basically there are ways to kind of quick resolve an entire season or game by game. So you can, if you were doing a season play for a team, you could quickly resolve with a couple dice rolls all the other games, just play your games out. And the game plays quickly. It plays in probably a half hour. My play takes a little bit longer because I'm talking and explaining what's going on as it's going. But it plays pretty quickly. So you could do a season replay in this, and you can pick any season you want. Look it up on Baseball Reference. Rate your teams. You can do teams from different years. There's all kinds of stuff you can do. It's incredibly flexible. You get a lot for not a whole lot of money, basically, is what I'm saying. So it involves a little bit of work on your part, rating the teams and stuff, but the rating system is very straightforward, really straightforward. It's all stat-based. He's got complete descriptions of how to do it with real players and how to roll up some fictional teams. It's kind of like if OTP was a board game, it might be this one. It's, because there's so many things you can do with it, and it's open to your imagination and your narrative drive and so forth. So without further ado, I think I'm just going to get to the gameplay, and so you guys can see it. And I see myself doing more videos on this game because I really enjoyed it. I had a ball last night playing this game. So without further ado, here it is. Deadball by W.M. Akers.
So I created some teams here, and we are going to play these 2 teams. They're fictional. We are going to play in the ancient era. The game has 2 eras, ancient and modern. So ancient is modeled on the Deadball era, with the name of the game being Deadball. That felt appropriate for me for this kind of playthrough, so you guys can see the game. The modern era obviously is kind of modeled after current day baseball. Mr. Akers has done some, he's a writer as well, and he's done some really nice stuff with providing history of the Southern Circuit. It's a co-ed league, so you have women and men, and it has, I think, now 5 or 6 years of fictional history. And he's done a great job of writing backstories on the players and giving them some personality and things. And when you buy the book, you get the information, the stories, the recap. There's a way to play seasons. There's a way to age your players if you do a fictional league. You can also obviously create real players, real teams. All the directions on how to create players are contained in the rule book, or the book, essentially. And so, it was very easy for me to do this following the directions that are in the book to kind of build a couple of teams. So because I do fictional baseball in OOTP, this was actually kind of easy for me to do, to kind of come up with names, because I have a name generator I use for Figment. And then I'm going to use from Mythic, and I just generated some stuff, and then I changed the first names to make them a little bit more colorful, I guess would be a word for it. So we have two teams, the haymakers and the pastimers. I did that kind of as an homage to Robert Coover and the Ultimate Baseball Association, J. Henry Waugh book that he wrote, because that book is really, really good, and it kind of goes into, you know, a whole fictional universe that a guy created, and he created his own dice-based baseball game. So this feels like it's right to me. A good example of just how, you know, one man's creativity can build a really engrossing baseball, or any sport really. You could do it with other sports as well, obviously, but it's just an engrossing universe in which to you know, use your imagination and create your own stories and so on. And this game does that very well. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to play haymakers at pastimers, okay? And so as you can see here, we've got players. This is kind of modeled on what you get in the book. If you look at the Southern Circuit teams in the book, you will see that they have, you know, team name and then a lineup, a bench, and pitchers. And there's a Southern Circuit in both the ancient era and the modern era, so you can see both. And the rosters in the ancient era are only 17 players deep. So basically we have 12 position players and 5 pitchers on both teams. You know, back then pitchers basically pitched the whole game unless they were getting shelled out there. Relievers were used very infrequently. Most teams went with a 3-man rotation or a 4-man rotation. And the quick reference that I printed out here, this came as part of my Kickstarter for this game, was, you know, the files. So I have the book in a digital format. I will get the actual printed book in a little bit. I think it said 3 to 6 weeks for it to be printed, because it's kind of print on demand. So in the meantime, I can still play the game just using this. I just don't have access to the manual except in PDF format. So anyway, we do have, you know, a quick reference here for the different things. Your swing result table. So you roll dice, and, you know, you look at the numbers and you see what you have here. And the way the game works between pitchers and hitters is you have this BT number, which is their batting target and their on-base target. So this is basically their batting average and their on-base percentage. So this is their base number. And then the pitchers down here, you see this PD, that's pitcher die. So that's the die, the type of die that they roll. So they roll 20-sided dies for Jimmy Lundeen and Bear Eddington and Icebox Brooks. They'll all be 20-sided die, which is the best, and obviously can impact these numbers because you add them to this number. And there's rules for, you know, when pitcher fatigue kicks in, they lose levels. So you go from a 20 rather, to a 12, to an 8, to a 6, to a 4, and then there's 0, which means they don't adjust the batter die at all. So if a pitcher is really bad, he could have a -4 die roll or a -8 die roll, where it actually makes the batter better. So everything is off charts. You roll dice, and then you might end up having to check for defense, where you can have an error. There's, you know, rarities, injuries, all kinds of stuff. The game is really, really, really deep, really well done. It's based on that kind of old school. Like if you look at Stratomatic, for example, you get some results off the hitter cards, some results off the pitcher cards, or in, say, Pursue the Pennant, it was a 0 to 999 result, and the first 500 was off the hitter card, and the second 500 was off the pitcher card. It's the same kind of idea, except they interact with each other. So the batter's target is basically lowered or raised based on whether the pitcher is good or not. So that's how that works. Pitchers, obviously, they also hit, so they have their own number. Traits, there are various traits, and these indicate what those are, and I have that on here somewhere, what the traits are. Yeah, so here are the traits. So you have power hitter, elite power hitter, that's a P++. So Moose Man has a P++. Now in the Deadball era, to be a P++, I think you need to have 15 home runs, because home runs are less frequent in the Deadball era. You have contact hitter. So just looking at what we have here, a D plus is a plus defender. That's plus power. C plus is a plus contact. S plus means he's fast, and so on. D minus would be a poor defensive player. C minus would be kind of a free swinger. P minus means a weak hitter. Then you can also have a P minus minus, which is an extra weak hitter. For pitchers, they could have K plus if they strike out a lot of batters. That didn't happen much in the Deadball era, so that's a pretty rare trait in that era. Ground ball plus, control pitcher, CN plus. Stamina would be ST plus. CN minus is the opposite of a control pitcher. That would be a wild pitcher, which raises the hitter's OBT. So that's how you would get increased walks for a wild pitcher, and so on. So I'm going to fill out the lineup cards here. So I have 2 sheets, one for each team. And basically you just kind of put the player, their position, you copy the information from here into this, and then you can play without having to refer back to this. And I'll just have both teams here, and I'll do that. I'm going to do that right now off camera. So I'm going to pause my recording, do that, and then I'll come back and we'll play some baseball. We are ready to play. Okay, so we have Haymakers at Pastimers. We have Jimmy Lundeen pitching for the Haymakers and Icebox Brooks pitching for the Pastimers. Pastimers will start in the field. Okay, so the way this works, an MSS is modified swing score, which I knew, but I had been drawing a blank on it. So you draw a D100, which is basically a 2 10-sided die, but this one actually has the numbers on them for the 10, the 10 column, and this is the single-digit column. So we would roll these 2 plus the pitcher's die. So both these guys are lefties and they're both D20, so they're both aces essentially. So we got our aces going against each other. We roll all 3 together. Okay, so we got an 18 on the pitcher's die. So you add that to the roll here, and it's a 5 is the last number, and it was a 60. So 65 plus 18 is an 83. So when you do that, you look on here, and you probably can't see it, but here's our swing chart. 70 plus up to 99 is just an out. So if there were runners on, which there are not, runners at second and third cannot advance on a fly ball, blah, blah, blah. So now we have to roll to find out what kind of out it was. So you roll a D10 again. We got a 7. So a 7 on the out chart is a pop-up to left field. Right, F7. Now we do it again. Typically when you have a lefty-lefty matchup or a righty-righty matchup, you would bump up 1 level on the die. So you would go from a 12 to a 20 or an 8 to a 12, etc. These guys are both 20s, so there's no adjustment needed or possible. So we're going to this brings up Jackpot Druin. So again, we roll. We get a pitcher die of 11, and we got a low number this time. So we got a 9. So it's an 09. So it's a 9, and a 9 is we add 11 to it, so it becomes a 20. So that's below his BT of 27. So he gets a hit. So now when you get a hit, you have to roll on the hit chart, and we roll the D20 for that. We got a 3, and a 3 is a single, but you check the defense of the first baseman. So now we go to the defensive chart, and we roll a D12 for that. We got a 5. So 5 is no change on the defense chart. So that's just a single. So just do like this, put a single in there. Okay, so now that brings up Pip Jaggers with a man on first, 1 out. And we got a 1 that time, so that's a bad roll for the pitcher, and we got a 28. So 28 becomes a 29. So that's a hit, and we roll again on the hit table with our D20. And we got a 12, and a 12 on the hit table is a single, and the runners advance 2. So he's going to go to third. he's got a single. And we move on. Now we've got Bobo Peterson, the second baseman. And, oh, wait a minute. I forgot to adjust for the P. He's a P plus. So a P plus adds 1 when rolling on the hit table. So in this case, that wouldn't have changed anything, but it's possible to go up from a single to a double or a double to a triple, etc. So we will roll here. We get a 13 and a 24. So that makes a 37. Now his hit number is only a 25. So this is going to be an out. So yeah, because it's above his OBT as well. So it's a 37. So anything from an OBT plus, so that's OBT plus 33, it's plus 4. So that falls into the possible error range. So then we roll a D12. We got a 1. And the 1 on the error chart is an error. Okay, so runners advance. We need to figure out who the fielder was. So I'm going to roll the D10. We got a 10, which is, well, that would be a strikeout. Oh, positions. Well, yeah, I'm going to roll it again because we need something other than a 0. So we got a 7. So that'll be an error on the left fielder. So we'll do E7, runners advance. Yeah, runners advance. So he goes to second. He scores. He gets on first. E7. All right. It's been a while since I've scored baseball by hand, believe it or not. All right, so 12 plus 74 is going to be an 86. So that's again just the out, where runners on second and third cannot advance. So now we just need to roll on where the out occurs, and that's a D10. We got a 5. That's a ground ball to third base. Runners on second and third on a ball anywhere. Oh, it's a double play. So that's a 5-4-3 double play. 5-4-3 double play. They got a run. So it's 1-0. Now we flip it over. The Pastimers are up. They will be taking on Jimmy Lundeen, who's a lefty. Bagels Brueggemann will lead off. He's got good speed. So they get an 11 and a 29, which is a 40. So that's 5 above. That's 5 above his OBT. So that again, we're in the possible error. So we roll the D12. We got an 8, which is a pop to center. Okay, pop to center. Now we roll the D12. Where did I put the D12? This is the D12, right? Did I roll the wrong die? I think I did. So I'm supposed to roll the 10, which is a 6. So it's actually a ground ball to the shortstop. Now we roll the D12. It's a 4, which is no change. So that would be an out. So that becomes a 6-3. So 1 out, and Dick Talley is up. Pitcher's die is a 9, and we got a 76. So I flip to a 2. 76 plus 9 is 85, so that's again an out. We roll to see who made the out, so we got to roll the D10. 3. That's a ground ball to the first baseman. So just put a G3 in there. That's 2 outs. Now we get a 97. Plus 1 is a 98. So that's almost to the oddity. A 99 is the oddity. So if that had been anything other than a 1, we would have had an oddity. As it is, it's just an out. We roll our 10. We get a 9. A 9 is a pop out. Fly ball to the right fielder. So F9. So that ends that. It is 1-0. After 1 full inning, we go back to we go to the second. We have Mike Marsili leading off. We get a 20, so this is a big, and a 98. So this is going to be an out. And if we had runners on base, this would actually be one that could give us a triple play. Obviously, we don't. So we're just going to roll to see who makes the out. 8 is going to be a fly to the center fielder. And we just keep on rolling. We got an 8 and a 57. So 57 plus 8 is 65. That's between 50 and 69, which would be a productive out. But again, no base runners. A 6 is a ground ball to the shortstop. So we get a 6-3. That brings up Rags Davis. So pitchers dies a 12 and a 42. So that's 54. Which is a productive out, but again, no base runners. And a 2 is a grounder to the shortstop. So another 6-3. So a nice inning there for Pumpsy Moore as he makes a couple of assists. All right, so that's nothing for the haymakers in the second. We go to the bottom of the second. Patch timer's up. We have Jumpin' Jerry Young leading off. He got a 31. So a 31 is a walk. So he is going to draw the free pass. Whoops. Let's do it this way. So he's got a free pass. Next one is an 83 plus 19 is 102. So that's an out. But we need to roll to see who makes the out. And I think this is a double play if it's on the ground. It's a 2, which is a grounder to the shortstop. So this is going to be a double play. 6, 4, 3. So now Pumpsy Moore is up. And we get a 98 plus 6, 104. So this is the same thing. It's going to be an out. 6, so that's another ground ball to the shortstop. So both pitchers are working the ground ball pretty good here. On to the third. Get a 4 and a 38. So that's 42. This is the pitcher, Jimmy Lundeen. He's got a 23 batting target and a 28 on base target. So it's way above that. So, but it is between the it's between 6 and 49 above the OB plus 6 to 49 would be just an out, basically. So we just roll 4. But it would have been a productive out if there had been a runner on. He would have advanced the runner. So 4 is a ground out to the second baseman. So 4-3. Then we get a 1 and a 14. So we're going to have a base runner here. Okay, so 14 plus 1 is 15. So that's going to be a hit. So now we roll the D20, and 14 is a single. Now if there were runners, they'd advance 2, but there aren't. Okay, now we could try a stolen base, and I think I will just so you can see what it looks like. So for that you use the D8, and because he doesn't have S+, if he had an S+, it would actually increase his chances, but he doesn't. So a 1 to 3, he'll be safe. A 4 to 8, he's out. I'm sorry. 1 to 3 out, 4 to 8 safe. He rolled a 5, so he steals second. Okay, so he's on second now with 1 out. And we roll for Druin, Jackpot Druin, who singled in his first at-bat and came around to score eventually. So we get a 35 plus 15 is 50. So a 50 to 69 is a productive out. Okay, so where he's going to move the base runner. It's a 3, which is a grounder to the first baseman. So the runner advances to third. He gets a G3. So 2 outs, man on third for Pip Jaggers, who's the best hitter they have, arguably. I mean, Walter's pretty good too. So we get a 16 plus 15 is 31, so he got a hit. He got a hit. He's got a P+, so we're going to add 1 to his hit roll. That's this one. So a 9 becomes a 10, which is just a single, but he drives the run in. So he gets a single and an RBI. And we move on to Bobo Peterson, who reached on the error in the first. So this time he gets a 37 plus 2, so a 39. So his OBP is 33, so that's 6 above his OBP. So this would be a productive out, but again, it's a it's 2 outs, so this is just going to be an out. It's a 2, so that's a grounder to the shortstop. He'll go the short way, 6-4, inning over. They score another run. So middle of the third, it's 2-0 Haymakers. Now we go to the past-timers. They have Philo Bledsoe. If you've ever seen Every Which Way But Loose or Any Which Way You Can, the Clint Eastwood movies, I actually named Philo Bledsoe because I came up with Bledsoe as the last name, and Clint Eastwood's character in that movie was Philo Beto, so I made it Philo Bledsoe, just kind of as a little wink wink there. So that's a 63 for Philo Bledsoe, and a 63 is an out. So we just roll our D10. We got a 0 that time, so that's a strikeout. So Philo whiffs, first K of the game, and we go on to Clyde Lang, the third baseman. And we got a 22 plus 8 is 30. Oh wait, that's an 18, so it's actually a 40. So that would be another out, obviously, and we roll our 10 and got a 4, so that's a ground out to the second baseman. So 2 outs, and that brings up the pitcher, Icebox Brooks, and he's a pretty poor pitcher, or hitter rather. A great pitcher, but a poor hitter. So 44 plus 16 is 60. His BT is at 11. So a 60 is just an out. We just figure out what it is, and it's a 6, which is a grounder to the second shortstop rather. That ends the inning, so they don't score again. It's now end of third, 2-0 Haymakers. On to the fourth. Slick Atkins, the center fielder, is leading off. We get a 11 plus 2 is a 13. So that's going to be a hit. So now we roll the 10 to see. No, the hits go on the D20. 2, so that's a single. Single for Atkins. So he's on first, nobody out. Mike Marsili at the plate, the left fielder. He is 0 for 1. 63 plus 15 is 78. That is above the productive out, and it's an out. So if this ends up being a ground out, it's a double play. And it is a 6, which is a grounder to the shortstop. So this is a 6-4-3 double play. 2 outs, just like that. And that brings up Johnny Bearden, the shortstop. 56 plus 8, 64. So that's going to be an out. And it's a 0, which is a strikeout. So first K of the game for Icebox. We go to the bottom of the fourth. Still 2-0 Haymakers. We got a 3, and an 87 makes a 90. So that's just an out. And a 9 is a fly out to right. So fly out to right for Brueggemann leading off. And Lundin has faced the minimum so far. He does have a walk. 75 plus 19 is a 94, so that's again an out. And that's a 1, which is a ground out to the pitcher. So that's 1-3. And that brings up Mann, who is by far the best hitter on this team, best hitter on either team. So he's got a 32 plus 16 is a 48, so that's actually going to be an out. Unfortunately for the past-timers. And a 6 is a ground out to the shortstop. So So on to the top of the fifth here. It's still 2-0 haymakers. Got a 16 and a 53. That would be a 69. And a 9 is a fly out to right. So 1 out. Lundeen comes to the plate. He's actually a decent hitter for a pitcher. He's got a 23 batting target. He rolls a 63 and the pitcher die is a 19. So that's 82, which is an out, of course. 0, that's a strikeout. So fittingly, the pitcher strikes out. 2 outs, back to the top of the order for Sniffles Walter, the third baseman. And Sniffles gets a 53 plus 17 is 70. 70 is an out. And a 0 is another strikeout. So Icebox not messing around in that inning. He now has 3 Ks and 3 of them they all have come in the last 2 innings. All right, halfway through, 2-0 haymakers. Home fifth starts with a 50 plus 19 is a 69. We rolled a 9. That's a fly out to right for Young. 1 down. And Lundeen's still working the no-hitter here in the bottom of the fifth. 41 and 18 is a 59, so that's an out. A 7 is a fly out to left. So they're hitting the ball in the air, but they're not getting any love out of it. Okay, this one might be promising. We got a 20. It flipped on me, but it was a 20. Trust me. 25 plus 5 is a 30. And so that's going to be a walk for Moore. So Pumpsy Moore draws the free pass. Second one in the game for Mr. Lundeen. So we have 1 on and 2 outs, and Philo Bledsoe at the plate. Philo actually might get a hit here. He's got a 16 plus a 4 is a 20. He's not a great hitter, but his hit numbers are 23. That's a hit. So Philo gets a base knock to break up the no-hitter. Now we'll roll our D20 to see what we get. It's an 18. That can be a double, but we have to check the defense of the center fielder. So Atkins is a D+. D+, and the D+ means it adds 1 to the die roll on the defense roll, which is a D12, which is this guy. It's a 10. Hit goes down a level. A 10 becomes an 11, but it goes down a level. So that's actually an out. So an excellent defensive play by Slick Atkins. They don't call him Slick for nothing. He made a great play there to end the threat, taking an extra base hit away from Philo Bledsoe and keeping the no-hitter intact for his man, Jimmy Lundeen. All right, we go to the 6th. So we get a 1 and a 50. So 51 plus 4 is a 55. 55 is an out. And it is a ground out to the pitcher. So starting off the 6th, Druin grounds back to the box to get erased. That brings up Jaggers. Pip Jaggers, 57 and 9 is 66, so that's an out. And he gets a fly out to left. So F7. 2 down, none on. Bobo Peterson at the plate. Bobo gets an 18 plus 19 is 37. That's 4 above his OBT, so it's a possible error. Okay, so first we roll the 10-sider to see who it could be on. 8 is the center fielder. Now we roll the 12-sider. So their center fielder is Hughes, Gig Hughes. He's not an above average defender. He's an average defender. Got a 9. A 9 is no change. So that is an out. So that is a fly out to center. All right, so easy peasy inning there for Icebox, and we go on to the bottom of the 6th. Lundeen still working the no-hitter. 19 plus 20 is 39. Luckily for him, this is the bottom of the order, Clyde Lang. So a 39 for Clyde Lang is going to be an out. And that's a ground out to the first baseman. So G3. That brings the pitcher up. Now, this being the dead ball era, we're not even thinking about pinch hitting here. All right. So we got a 58 plus 19, 77, so it's an out. Roll the die, it's a 4, that's a ground out to the second baseman, so 4-3. 2 down, back to the top of the order, and Bagels Brueggemann. Can Bagels come through? 58 and 14 to 72. No, he cannot. The no-hitter is going to remain intact on the grounder back to the box. Lundeen is cruising. It is now going into the 7th. He still has the no-hitter going. And we will continue on here. Slick Atkins, who made the great play to keep the no-hitter intact, is at the plate. He gets an 86 plus 3, 89, so that's an out. And a 3 is a ground out to the first baseman. So G3 for Mr. Atkins. And we go back to, this is now Marsilli. Marsilli gets a 9 plus 5 is a 14. Marsilli's going to get a hit. So first thing we do is we roll the 20. We got an 8, so that's a single. So Marsilli gets a base knock. And we move on. Man on first here, Johnny Bearden at the plate. And he rolls a 27 plus 18 is 45. So that is an out. We now roll to find out what kind of out. And our D10, it's a 6. So that is a ground out to the shortstop, but it's a slow hit ball, which will advance Marsilli, and we go 6-3. So now we have a man on second and 2 outs, and Rags Davis, the right fielder, at the plate. Rags isn't much of a hitter. 72 plus 18 is 90. That will be an out. And he flies to right. So fly to right, ends the inning, stays 2-0. Lundeen back to the hill to see if he can keep his no-hitter going. He rolls a 45 plus 18 is a 58. So 58 is an out. And it's a grounder to third, so that's a 5-3 for tally. Okay, we roll again. And we get a 37 plus 2 is a 39. So with man at the plate, a 39 is a walk. So that's the third free pass handed out by Lundeen, but he still has not allowed a hit. All right, Jumpin' Jerry Young at the plate. Jumpin' Jerry hits, he gets a 90 plus 13 is 103. So runners cannot advance on a fly ball, possible triple play on the ground. 6, so this is going to be a double play. 6, 4, 3, and that ends the inning. So Lundeen continues to cruise. Now, there's a fatigue rule in the game where they go down by 1 die after 7 innings as the starter for the dead ball era. I believe it's 7. That's how I'm going to play it. So both pitchers will now go from a 20-sider to a 12. But because Lundeen has a no-hitter, I'm going to leave him at a 20. He's in the groove. So he'll keep the 20, but Icebox is going to go to a 12 now. So we get a 13 plus 8 is 21. And this is the pitcher, Lundeen, so he's actually going to get a single. All right, so that's a base hit for Lundeen. Go back to the top of the order for Slick Walter, or Sniffles Walter, I'm sorry. 37 plus 5 is a 42. So that's within 2 of his OBT number. It's a 40. So we'll roll to see who makes the play. 0 is a strikeout. So now we're going to see if the catcher drops the ball, which is what I should have done last time and I didn't. So our catcher for the past-timers is, I have 2 center fielders. This is the catcher. Hughes is the catcher. I had CF in there. All right, so Hughes doesn't add anything to the roll, so we just roll a D12. It's an 8, so that's no change, so that's a strikeout. That's a strikeout. And Lundin stays at first. Now we've got a 69. So a 69 is a productive out. So again, we roll our D10. It's a 4. So that's a slow roll at a second. And it advances Lundin to second. So no play at second for Lundin can be made by Bledsoe. So Philo goes to first for the sure out. We have a man on second, 2 outs, and Jagger's at the plate. Can Pip come through? 79 and 5 is 84, so no, Pip cannot come through. Roll again. It's a 4. That's a ground out to second base again. It's going to end the inning. Go to the middle of the 8th. Now we go with the 20-sider for Lundin, who is grooving right now. 56 plus 7 is 63, so that's going to be an out. That is an out. 0, that's a strikeout. So he's going to whiff Hughes to start the 8th. Now we've got a 53 and a 9 is a 62, so that's another out. And a 0 again is a K, so he is just on fire right now. And now we get an 82 and 14 is a 96. And a 1. My dice tower is coming apart here. So the 1 is a grounder back to the box. So he will take care of that himself. And that ends the 8th. We go to the 9th. Still 2-0. Brooks is still going to come out, so we'll leave Brooks in there. It's a 2-0 game. It's not like he's pitching badly. He gets an 11 and a 70, so that's 81. That's an out. 6 is a grounder to short, so Peterson grounds out to short. 1 down. That brings up Slick Atkins. Atkins gets a 61 plus 4 is a 65. So that's also an out. And he flies to left field on the 7. And now we have Marcilli, the left fielder. He gets a 77 plus 9 is an 86. So this is going to be a 1-2-3 inning. And an 8 is a fly to center field. That does it. So we go to the bottom of the 9th. Can Lundin pitch the no-hitter? Lang will lead off. We're going to pinch hit for Lang, I think. Actually, yeah, there really isn't that much better on the bench, to be honest. Yeah, we'll let Lang hit. So we got a 35 and 16 is a 51, so that's an out. And it's a grounder to short. Okay, we will pinch hit for Brooks. Okay, so Brooks pitched 9 innings. We will bring in Blinky King. He seems to be the best hitter on the bench. So Blinky King comes in, pinch hitter. He hits right-handed. His numbers are 24 and 30. All right, we have our first pinch hitter. We get a 26 plus 3. That's going to be a walk. That's a walk. So he gets the free pass, keeps hope alive. Notation there. All right, so we have a man on first. Brueggemann at the plate. Can Bagels come through? Bagels rolls a 17 plus 6 is going to be a 23. This is going to be a hit unless we get some kind of defensive thing on the hit table. 23, his number's 26. That's in his range. So we roll the D20 to see if he gets a hit or what kind of hit. It's a 5. A 5 is a single defense third base. So we look at the third baseman. He's a D+. Sniffles Walter being called upon to see if he can preserve the no-hitter. So to preserve the no-hitter, he needs to roll a 9. 9, 10, 11, or 12 will be an out. It's a 12. Sniffles Walter comes through. Holy smokes. All right. So that is, I guess that must be a hit turned into out. So I'm going to say that that's going to move the runner up. Maybe it was a slow hit roller. You know, Sniffles charged in, grabbed it, gunned it to first to get Brueggemann, who's fast, but that's 2 outs, and now the last man standing between Lundeen and a no-hitter is Dick Talley. And Talley rolls a 100 plus the 4. This is an out, and it's a 1. So fittingly, it's a grounder back to the box. Lundeen Fields throws over to Jaggers at first to end the game. So that is it, my friends. We have a no-hitter. So we know the Past-Timers got no runs, no hits. They made 1 error. The Haymakers have 2 runs. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hits and made no errors. So there you go. 270-001. I'm going to say no hitter Lundeen. So that was a really exciting game for my first demonstration game of Deadball. As you can see, this is a really good game. We didn't get any oddities. We didn't get any injuries or anything wacky going on. Pitchers gain a level if they strike out 2. Actually, I should have bumped him back up, but no damage was done. I should have bumped Brooks back up to a 20 because he did strike out 2 batters in the 8th. I'm sure I probably missed something here and there, but as you can see, the game flows. It's very quick. It rolls. I mean, it's good. I love a good baseball game. Baseball was my first sporting love, and I love a good baseball game. The narrative is just so strong. You can picture it in your head. You know, Jimmy Lundeen is a made-up guy, but he threw a no-hitter, and that's really exciting, and I just love it. I mean, this is good stuff. So hopefully you enjoyed seeing this. I know I enjoyed playing it. For now, I'm going to sign off. So I'm Joe. This is Hexed Encountered. And as always, please like, share, and subscribe if you have not. Hopefully you enjoyed this game. I will probably do some more stuff with this. Maybe I'll do a modern era game. Maybe I'll talk about how you create a real team. I don't want to show the charts that really show how to create a fictional team because I want people to buy this game. W.M. Akers did a great job. As I said, the narrative in this game is really strong. He's done a lot of background stuff with his Southern Circuit. There's 9-inning pennant, which is kind of a cool, like, end of the pennant race. You play the last 3 or 4 games, I think, of the season to see who wins the pennant. You have like 2 or 3 contenders, and all 8 teams in the Southern Circuit, or if you made up your own league, you could do it with them as well. He's got rules that let you quick play, get results. You could totally do like a season replay with this game, with just like rolling a couple dice to figure out the games you don't want to play. You'll get a score. Obviously, you won't be getting any stats when you do something like that, but you can play your favorite team. You can rate any season in baseball history pretty much. It might be a little weird with some of the really old seasons, but I think it's doable. Yeah, this is just, it's a really solid game. I really enjoy it, and I hope that came through. And I said I was signing off, and I didn't, so I'm going to sign off now. So again, my name is Joe. This is Hexed Encountered. Thank you for watching, and until next time, happy gaming.